And welcome, friends, to another episode of the At the Net podcast, powered by Tex-Mex Productions. Working the soundboards in the back of the house are our producers, D-Mac and Dave the Brain. Time to say hello to your hosts, Craig Bell and AJ Shabria, as they're about to take us through 3 sets of tennis, talking life and all the news as it seems to them. Ladies and gentlemen, Craig Bell.
All right, thanks to our At the Net podcast girl. That would be Margot Carter for that namaste. Namaste.
And
is it namaste? Is it namaste or namaste, do you think?
I feel like it's namaste. Marcia, you're the authority. How do you pronounce it properly?
Hi, guys.
What's
Namaste.
up?
Namaste. Namaste. There we go.
Good.
There we go right there. For that nice namaste from Margot introduction. And welcome, fans of the great game. You're listening to Season 1, Episode 80. I've had trouble. I think I have marbles in my mouth tonight. I don't know why, but I just do. It's been one of those days.
Yeah.
Okay? Of At the Net podcast, that would be AJ Chabria right there, right? Are you
Episode
AJC?
80. Is that real?
80.
That's awesome.
Gosh, I can't believe we did that. I can't believe you wanted to talk with me for 80 episodes. I mean,
Craig, some days it feels like 30. Some days it feels like 130.
That's right. That's exactly what my wife said.
Just like a marriage, right?
That's exactly right. And I'm CB1, a.k.a. Craig Bell, who are talking the great game of tennis as it
seems to us.
Thanks also go out to our good amigos at Tex-Mex Productions. That would be one, Darian D. Mac McBrayer and Dave the Brain from back of the house. Actually, the back of the house is in Maryland right now.
He is remote, and as many things are, even in the broadcasting world, he's far, far away, but he's kind of right here.
He's close, yeah. We were talking to him about 5 minutes ago.
That's right.
So he helped us to move the dials and the buttons to make us look and sound like real people tonight, right?
That we are,
real?
and
Yeah? Okay.
and so is our guest. I can't wait.
Yeah. Also, be sure to check out our good work on Fireside, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Anchor, Breaker, CastBox, Overcast, Pocket Cast, Radio Public. I had to take a breath there. Spotify and YouTube. Basically, that's all the communication sites the kids find popular today, right?
We're proud, yeah.
Are you one of the kids? Are you one of the woke kids that find popular?
I'm trying to stay young, bro. Yeah.
Okay. And if you're female, maybe we'll get our guest to read the intro at one time also, too. That'd
Great
be kind
voice,
of fun.
yeah.
Yep. And would like to be an At the Net podcast girl. We would love to let us know, because we're looking for all sorts of intros, even in a foreign language, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Speaking of namaste, our guest this evening is Marcia Gray. Hi, Marcia. How you doing?
Hi, guys. How are you? I'm so thrilled to be here.
Wonderful, Marcia. Thank you. Thanks for joining us tonight.
I get one time to say Marcia, Marcia, Marcia. And that's all. I'll say that one time. You know, how many times have you heard that?
You know, it's okay. I mean, when you can't beat them, you might as well join them. It is my ringtone to my phone.
It really
Is it the great Jan Brady going, Marcia, Marcia, Marcia?
It is actually Jan's voice going, Marcia, Marcia, Marcia. And I forget sometimes when I'm in the grocery store and all of a sudden people look around like, what the heck? I'm like, it's just my phone. Never mind.
Yeah. You embrace the Brady Bunch. So as opposed
I do embrace the Brady Bunch. It's not like I had any choice of, getting away from it, because all the other Marcias I've ever talked to, I'm like, don't tell me it's Marcia, Marcia, Marcia. And they're like, yeah, all day, every day.
correct.
Well, I couldn't pass it. That's just one time. Just one time. Well, I won't do it.
It's okay if you want to call me that again. I'm okay.
Well, maybe at the end we might say Marcia, Marcia, Marcia.
Okay.
So, but we're glad to have you here, Marcia. Is that actually up in Washington, right? Via the Zoom
Actually,
call.
I am a Pacific Northwest native, but I am in Virginia. I've been living here for a while. So, yeah.
The other side.
Yeah. So, even though I'm a Seattleite, now I'm East Coaster. So
Cool.
We'll get to that here probably in the third set or segment. I'm going to ask you a question about East Coast, West Coast. So we're going to put you on the spot and see which one you like better. But Marcia has a really interesting background. Has a big sports background. Does all sorts of stuff: water skiing, snow skiing. Gym jump rope. Wow, gym jump rope. Is that you just get in there and jump rope as fast as you can? For as long as you can?
10 minutes of skipping rope equals a mile of running, which, no thanks, I'd rather jump rope. I mean, there's people that are really into running, and that's great, but that's not for me. I just prefer to kind of put my headphones on and just jump away, and it's good. It's great cardio.
Yep.
It helps with tennis, too, and the footwork. So that's kind of what I like to do. So, yeah.
Also, I find it intriguing that you are a Navy fitness trainer. Wow, man, I don't know if I could do that. How many push-ups do you have to do? Like, 1,000 in 10 minutes kind of deal, or
Well, the nice thing about being a fitness trainer is you lead the sailors in their fitness training, and I can just go, let me do 3, and then you guys can do the rest. So, yeah, I mean, just really interesting, experience there. I mean, some of the fittest people in the world that I had an opportunity to work with, and their families, and people that just work for the military that are civilians, and, keeping them mission ready and ready to go and deploy. And, it was really never a dull moment, and every day was a little bit different. So,
did you work with any of the SEALs?
I did. Yeah. I did. I had an opportunity to work with some Navy SEALs, and it's interesting. There is kind of a stigma to some people attached to yoga. They're like, yeah, and I don't want to do that. I'm good. Then my grandma does that, and I would tell them, trust me, this is not your grandma's yoga, right? But we're going to do a fitness-based yoga. And just like, come on upstairs to the studio. Come on, just give it a try. So usually about halfway through the class, I'm walking by, through the class, and I'm hearing lots of bleep, bleep, bleep in a good way, right? Because they are like getting their butts kicked. So that was fun. It was kind of a nice, fun way to kind of go, yeah, guys, okay, well, let's try yoga. So
are they like real people? The SEALs.
They really are real people. They're not a bunch of GI Joes. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because they look like they have rock hard abs, and they're like have 26-inch guns.
They're fitter than pro athletes. They are pro athletes and superheroes in a way.
And probably half a screw loose, right? I mean, those people.
Yeah. I mean, if you ever had a GI Joe growing up, you guys. I mean, it's just kind of GI Joe comes to life. So it was fun, and just. And pregnant sailors, helping them on their pregnancy journey, and keeping them fit and snapping back after they have their baby, and then getting back into their regular rotation at work. I mean, some couples are both military and they have a family, so it's a tough life for the military, right? I mean, it's great, but it's also got a lot of it's a double-edged sword. Sometimes, their spouses or mates are gone for 6-8 months, and you've got to be mom and dad and, therapist and, judge, jury, all that good stuff. So
good cop and bad cop, right?
Exactly.
Especially around our house. I was always the bad cop. I hated that role. I told my wife, I go, I want to be the good cop one day. I go, I don't want them always going over, Dad's, dad, come on, let me be the good cop one time. I want to have the sugar.
Well, you need a bad cop. Either that or the kids will be walking all over you and you'll be mowing the lawn on the weekend. Right?
Well, in Texas, not many of my kids, I don't think they ever mowed the lawn. I think that, let's just say that they were kind of spoiled rotten, and
okay.
And I think the lawnmower maybe has been on at this house no times. Yeah, I do own a lawnmower. I do own a lawnmower, but I used it at our last house, which was about 20-something years ago.
Really?
Have you ever mowed the grass?
We're a lot alike in a lot of ways, but this is not one of them. I have a manual push mower that doesn't require gas.
You have the blades?
It has blades. I have that style.
I gotta tell you, that is no joke of a workout.
That's a solid workout.
No joke. Are you out there at like 4:30 in the morning when there's no heat out there?
I'd like to tell you that, but sometimes it's whenever I can squeeze it in at lunch with a black shirt on, and I'm like, bring it on, son. Let's go. 30 minutes. Let's
Marcia,
go, man.
He lives in the hippest neighborhood down in close to the urban area of downtown, so where all the hipsters and woke kids hang out. That's where nobody has a lawnmower there. They all have blades. They don't want to hear the noise. Yeah, it's like Stepford Wives. Have you ever seen those Stepford Wives? That's his neighborhood right there. I'm learning more about AJ than I ever thought. I didn't know that.
That's funny. We've been pals for 20-something years.
Yeah.
It is a small yard, so it only takes me a half hour. Yeah, it's not a huge house. Yeah.
Well, Marcia, we're glad to have you this evening. We're really going to talk to you a lot about what you like to do, I guess, in your spare moment now, and it's yoga. and you've written a book, and we're going to get into all that. And so we really appreciate, maybe do you think we can do the some of the poses? Do you think we'll be able to do, like the lion, or the cat?
Our camera can handle some of this stuff.
Right.
We've done some of this stuff before with a racket in hand, and I'm curious about breath work too. And our listeners, many of them are either tennis parents, tennis coaches, tennis players. So we're going to make it kind of tennis specific also, which is something you're amazing at. And I read your book and I love it. And I want to get to that too. Yeah, it's going to be awesome. So
I just have to make correction when you say I'm amazing at tennis. I'm more of like a professional hacker. Let's just put it that way.
It's okay.
I love the game, but it's like, one day I feel like I'm a superstar. The other day it's like I go down and blaze a glory. So,
it's actually such an asset for you. I bet your students can identify with the fact that you've had a journey. I think Craig and I think some of our students might feel like, man, you've been good for 40 years. Or how can you identify with 3.5 trying to return a 4.0 serve, right? So in a way, it's such an asset for you where students or clients can identify with your journey as a tennis player and what you might go through, because you play league tennis still, right?
I do.
Yeah.
I do, yes. And I enjoy it. I mean, I really kind of have always kind of had the attitude, more so now that I've gotten into the discipline of yoga where you can combine body connection, but I always think, what can I bring to something? What kind of a joy can I get out of it? And am I having fun? Is it worth my time? And if I say yes, 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 then make the best of it. Whatever the outcome.
Gosh, and when it's yes, 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 and there's joy involved, that jumps your performance up a few levels too. That's a blast. Whether you're winning or losing that performance. You're a tall lady, and you've played all the sports, including basketball. In our first set right now, it's fun for us to ask, how'd you go from the other sports into yoga and tennis? Okay,
so being a taller female, growing up on the West Coast, big family, 6 kids, my family was really into golf. And, you always kind of want to set yourself apart a little bit, like, I don't really want to do golf. So I really took to basketball, out in the driveway playing horse with all my siblings, or just somewhere, a pickup game. I loved it. I loved it. I loved the team aspect of it. I loved being able to, I was a center, right? So I loved, just having a part to be able to do that. So I played in elementary school, I played in junior high, I played in high school, got to college, and I was like, I want a little more of a social life. So I was really into Greek life with my sorority sisters that I'm still in contact with today, and I love them dearly. But I still get to see them from time to time when I go back to Seattle. But so I just worked out back in the 80s. Everybody was running, right? So I was just doing that and trying to stay in shape. And then I had a best friend that went to a rival high school that was on the tennis team. I think she was like 1 or 2 on the team, and she needed somebody to just hit the ball with. So that's kind of all I did back then. I was like, this is fun, but okay. So I didn't really have an illustrious junior career or anything like that. So it wasn't until later in life with my son that on a summer vacation, a summer break, he's sitting around in the perils of having a mother as a fitness trainer. I'm like, yeah, we're going to get off the sofa and we're going to go have an activity together. So we decided to go and get some lessons. And then, of course, he had to go back to school. And the bug hit me bad. So it's been about 11 years now. So
when you say the bug, competition or improvement or just hitting the crap out of the ball, what bit you? What was in?
I think the fact that it's me against me. Yes. Me. How am I different than 6 months ago? Am I improving on my serve? Am I getting a little bit more pop off that? Am I getting some top spin? Am I executing properly as compared to when it was just, all over the place from the beginners. So I like the fact that, the camaraderie and the social aspect of course. So, I just now am all over it. Everything tennis, much like you guys. So
excellent. Should we go second set, or do we have some questions from the field?
Well, we had some folks. Yeah, just a second here.
Good.
I'll say hello here. Cheryl Harris says Marcia is phenomenal.
She sure is.
Yeah.
That's my original doubles partner. I love her.
Oh, there we go. Very nice chiming in. And the great Margaret Bannon, who's been on the show, says, say hi to Marcia for me at some point. So we were saying hi.
Good.
Oh, that was sweet. She's sweet.
Yeah. She's a remarkable lady. Yeah. In fact, we're still in touch with her all the time. What a delightful gal.
Nice.
Yeah. Delightful gal. Yeah. She does this intensity tennis yoga on the actual tennis court and everything. She's wonderful and a great guest we had. Let's move to the second set, where we get to talk about your current projects and your future projects. And I would count the book that I read from you, Yoga for Tennis, as in a way a current project. So talk a little bit about that and how you got involved with Love Set Match and publishing all that stuff.
Well, it's interesting. Social media is an interesting gift to be able to meet people from all over. And my co-author, Philip Kim, and he goes by Coach PK, he reached out to me and we started following each other. And just a real positive, fun guy. He's a tennis pro in Southern California. And he said, hey, would you ever like to be a guest on my podcast? I was like, talking about, and he goes, no, tennis, fitness, all that. And so it kind of started that way. And I was a guest on his podcast, Tennis Pal Chronicles. And we talked about that. And during the interview, he was like, hey, maybe you can give the tennis audience some idea, maybe some 10 stretches. So I was like, yeah, I could do that. So just kind of organically started going. And then he was so sweet. He was like, well, maybe you can, maybe add some cues to it. And I said, okay. But then being kind of a overachiever that I am, I'm like, I can't just do 10, maybe more, right? We're going to talk about how this is going to benefit a tennis player. So I went all in, right? And the book is 22 poses with modifications. It ends up being 157 pages because everybody is at their own level. So yoga is for everybody. People tell me I'm not going to do yoga because I'm not flexible. And I said, perfect. That's a perfect reason for you to go to yoga so you can get more flexible and reduce your injuries and increase your athletic performance. And also keep your game from declining, which we can talk about a little bit. But so anyways, it just kind of happened, and then lockdown happened. And then he's in the West Coast, I'm in the East Coast, and we would Skype and talk for many, many months. And he has that Love Set Match, which started as a tennis blog. Through Twitter, and he kind of built a community with other tennis people, and they started posting tennis content, and then it turned into now he's got this tennis blog and this website, and he's also got a YouTube channel. So he's been going gangbusters for about 10 years on that. But anyway, so back to what I was saying is that we just kind of all collaborated, and it just kind of was a grassroots organic thing where, look, we got a book we could do. And so because he has that Love Set Match blog, we self-published it through the lovesetmatch.net, where people can find the book. I'm sure we'll talk about later on. But that's kind of how it happened. And then it's just been kind of, growing and growing. So
e-books in general and self-published, you heard about some of this stuff 15, 20 years ago, but it's all the rage now. So it's neat to hear your process on that. Tell us about actually writing it and getting the photographs done, because it's pretty professionally done. I really enjoyed seeing, whether you're like you said, somebody who is maybe strong and athletic, but not very flexible in the hamstrings. I know that stuff helps recovery, hips, performance, not just recovery like the next day, but recovery the same day, like where, maybe some people play their butts off on a tennis court, and maybe it's tough. Maybe it's 3, 4, 5, 6 sets of doubles, and they need some Advils just to function later that night,
gosh,
right?
yeah.
So no thanks, you know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
we don't want that. So when we're able to do, and that's one of the reasons I enjoyed the illustrations in your book, and it was, I'm sure people like you can do it exceedingly well, but somebody tighter in the hamstrings or less flexible, it was very, very useful for me to go through the different steps. Tell us a little bit about the photos and the process of writing an ebook.
Well, because of the lockdown, the high schools were closed, right? So I went to the Virginia Beach High School, and they had some nice courts. And so it was perfect background, and just set up and took photos, and then, would go and then make a bunch of Google Docs, and would cue them. And then PK, who didn't have a lot of background in yoga, would be like, Marcia, what pose is this again?
Yeah.
Right. So it was kind of a lot of just, a lot of collaborating and trying to make sense to the person that's not the regular practitioner. I can talk all yoga speak,
Of course.
but I need to talk to people that are getting into yoga, then I want them to feel comfortable. Because honestly, the one big thing I wanted to relay tonight is yoga really is for every single body. It doesn't matter your shape, your size. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're a pro athlete, if you're, I got this, I can do everything. It doesn't matter if you are deconditioned and you're coming back from a surgery, or you really have never moved that much. It's for everybody. And let me tell you, when you're in a class with other people, it's a no judgment thing, it's a beautiful thing, because if you are walking out into a tennis court and you see these heavy hitters next to you and you're like, kind of a beginner, it's intimidating. You're like, oh gosh, right? Yoga is beautiful because there might be somebody who's doing all the fancy stuff next to somebody who's, just starting out, and they're doing yoga for their body. It doesn't have to be the Instagram type of yoga. It's yoga in your body, and being curious about what your body can do on a daily basis. So, and not to mention, I know this sounds like it's too good to be true, but you feel absolutely amazing in your body afterwards. You just feel like, oh yeah, wow, I've been able to do that since I was like 26, right? Just that kind of mobility that you can get in your body is worth it. And plus, at the end of every yoga class, what workout can you do that you get a 3-minute nap? Come on. It's called the Shavasana, right? What's not to like about that? Work you hard, you'll be sweaty, and then you'll lie down, turn the lights out, and close your eyes. And then when you get up, people would say to me at the end of the day at the base, I don't care if somebody flips me off on the traffic on the way home. I don't care if they cut me off, because the stress is gone, right? So have you guys practiced any yoga on your own, like ever at a studio, or do you do it at like YouTube or?
Years back, I've done an actual studio class. I do what I read from your book and what I know that has helped me in terms of mobility and breathing. CB?
Well, I'm waiting for competitive yoga to start up. I don't want to take a nap.
They have Yoga Olympics, so we might want to submit your name there.
If there's a,
I want to be on the competitive yoga team.
Yeah, if there's a serve and volley,
Yes.
let's play points right now.
Right.
That's your guy.
I'm not
Very good.
no recreational yoga for me. I don't want any of that
That's so
nonsense.
funny.
Oh, forget it. It's
I- I
gold
str- I-
medal or bust.
I stretch. Actually, I stretch every morning about 10 minutes. I roll my back.
Awesome.
And
Oh, that's good.
I'm not very good, and I do think that there are people who would look at you in a classroom. That's why I go way to the back.
That's how I have too.
That way I can view the crowd. The crowd doesn't view me. Yeah.
But I totally understand that as a new practitioner years ago. I'm like, oh my God, there's no way. But I swear to you, everybody's more concerned about what their body's doing. And they're trying to, stay present and breathe. And do what feels best for them. I mean, there's days I'll go to a class and I'm like, phew, God, I'm really feeling stiff. And because maybe I haven't, done something in a couple of weeks and I've been on travel or something. But yeah, I mean, every day is different. Every day is different.
Marcia, you made such a great point about you can't help but feel great after the yoga. And you made a point about road rage and traffic and how much emotional control and joy you feel. How does that relate? I want to bring this as a tennis coach into what we're going through, some of the stress levels we're going through in a real match, whether it's doubles where you have a partner that you're hopefully getting along with swimmingly, but maybe it's a weird relationship and you want both people to be performing in that way where there's no road rage, court rage, there's no lack of performance because of the stress. In fact, you want to step out of your skull and play that level, So tell us a little bit about some of that emotional stuff. Maybe it's breath work too. So
yoga, surprisingly, but it's very similar. It's a nice symbiotic relationship between yoga and tennis because you've got to let each point go after every bad. If you didn't execute well, you got to let it go. It's the next point, right? You've got to stay present when you're in a yoga class while you're in the pose. Usually you'll hold it a little longer. So what does that translate into? Letting go of any sense of mistakes on a tennis court. What does that mean? Staying present. We're not going to go, look, I'm 2 points away to win this great trophy. And then you go, right? Every time I've done that, I'm like, something happens and I'm like, what happened to you? You got to stay point as you construct the point. So yoga is beneficial for that. It's also beneficial for helping you age with ease. That's my thing I talk about. When I teach in Virginia Beach, I teach a fitness-based yoga with weights and gliders and bands and all that, and ankle weights and wrist weights. Some of my ladies even put on a weight vest. It's all optional, of course, but I do a lot of upper body strength training. I do a lot of keeping, if I have fellow tennis friends in the class, always really working on the shoulder girdle, as well as the hip internal and external rotation, because when you do that uniturn, you don't want your hip back here and then your shoulder up here. You need to be all in sync with your split steps, etc. So not only that, but the biggest thing is staying present with your breath, because if you start panicking, what happens? You start breathing weird. What happens there? Then you're going to tire your cardiovascular system out, right? So you want to sustain your energies for however long your match is. So then you can go into a yoga breath, which is deep inhale through the nose, like you're filling up your lungs like a balloon. And then open your mouth, let it all out. That sends a signal to your central nervous system to chill, relax, right? So a lot of people get all, wigged out when something happens bad in a match. Just close your eyes for a second. I mean, there's a lot of pros. I think Maria Sharapova was pretty good in between matches. She really showed that steely, I'm staying right here. And this is all I'm doing right now. I'm going to the deuce side. I'm going to serve. People think of meditations of some weird guy with a long beard and they're on a mountain and he's like, oh, right. And it doesn't have to look like that. Okay. Meditation can be something as you're brushing your teeth at night and all you're focusing on is brushing your teeth. What does that feel like in between your gums and your teeth? That's a very simple way of explaining. You just have to focus on what you're doing right then and there. Whether or not you're driving, well, you don't probably want to be driving and meditating, but I like to do guided meditation on apps where they'll take you to somewhere on the water, or they'll take you somewhere on the mountains, and then they, you just kind of breathe, and which I talked about, and then they kind of take you on a journey with them. And I'm telling you, after that, if I'm in a mood where I need to get an attitude adjustment, I put that on for, 5, 6, 7 minutes. They have all these different time limits that you can choose, 2 minutes. And I got to tell you, I feel 100% better after that. So do you guys ever meditate or ever?
I definitely do. In fact, 2-3 times a day, certainly in the morning. Some people call it meditation, some people call it prayer, but it's that breath work and the centering and some of the apps that help with guided meditation. As I was reading your book, I felt, even though I'm a little bit more on the science side, I felt that everything you're talking about right now is totally consistent with some of the brilliant scientists we've talked to, like Jorge Valverde.
Yep.
He talked about breathing in color, and that's has a lot in common with some of the sensory cues that you're talking about, whether it's brushing teeth or kind of sitting with legs elevated or inversion table or a pose that has to do with a headstand or certain poses. And, I'll let you go through some of the names, but the people at home who are listening, you get this book and you'll have it's so accessible and fun to read, and you'll have a pretty good a really, really good education, even if you're really new at it, or even if you're more from the math and science world like I am. I really enjoyed it, so thank you for that.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm glad to hear that. I've gotten a lot of really, PK and I've gotten a lot of really, so grateful for the feedback we've gotten from people, how they said that it's easy. It's on your phone.
Yeah.
You download it. It's on your phone. It's right there. Oh, I forgot what she said. Okay. And, I don't know if I could do all that craziness or whatever that looks like to them. Oh, well, I can still do this pose. Maybe let's say I showed a pose and I had A, B, C, D, E. Let's say I had 6 different versions of it. And the 6th one is the fullest expression.
Uh-huh.
So I'll lead people through A, and then I'll take them to B. And I'll say, if this is where you need to stop, stay there. You're still doing the pose. Then we'll go to 3, 4, 5. It doesn't matter. That's the beautiful thing of it.
Yeah.
You know, like you're on a tennis team or an NBA team or whatever the case may be. You have expectations to get to, to be a part of the team. The nice thing about yoga is you can go in and do what you can, be curious about your body, and be okay and honor where your body is that day. Because everybody's different, especially as we get a little older, right? A little more creaks going on.
Yeah.
And so, that's the beautiful thing about it. And just like tennis, you can play that for a lifetime. And just like yoga, you have some sort of a yoga practice, whether it's once a week, twice a week, YouTube, at a studio, whatever you do, you are giving your body the gift of stability, mobility, and flexibility for life. I mean, it's that transformative, and I'm sure other people that you've talked to about yoga would say something similar to that. When we're kids and we're running around, back in the day when there were street lights and your parents just said, get out of the house, right? Just go play and don't come back until it's dinner time, right?
Right.
And you're running around and doing cartwheels and tumbling and, throwing things and, just having fun. You didn't have any fear of, I can't do that, right? And as we get older, you see somebody doing a headstand or whatever the case may be. You can still do a headstand and not really be in a headstand, but it's still you're still doing the pose. You're just doing like maybe the first part of it.
Marcia,
so your feet aren't even up.
Marcia, your response there makes me want to talk a little bit or learn from you about self-talk, because the self-talk that we don't have as kids, that negative stuff, maybe we have that in singles or doubles, or maybe even in a drill session where there's a guy on the other side feeding you balls, making you better. But if you're a little negative and the self-talk is, dude, he wants me to have a brilliant, beautiful one-handed slice, then go to the net and hit an angled volley like Craig Bell. I can't do that. How are you helping people with that?
Okay. So back to what I was saying is that you've got this no fear thing. I want to do climb trees, all that. Okay. And then as we get older, this will circle back around to your question.
Good.
As we get older, responsibilities, school, family, work. Do you ever find yourself out climbing a tree when you're 45? Right? No. Do you ever find yourself doing cartwheels down your street when you're 39? No. So, and that's okay. But that's where yoga could come in, and you can start exploring those movements again and go, gosh, I can do something. It might not be what the teacher's doing, but I can do it. So it empowers people every day to go, you know what? I'm not as much of a, deconditioned person that can't do anything. Because when you go out there on the court and you're like, oh, I can't do it. They want me to go do all these brilliant moves. You can go to yoga and still feel like you're empowered and doing the same pose as everybody else, but it's different in your body. So what happens, we sit there and we're, maybe not you guys, but you drive a desk for 30, 40 years and you bad posture, right? And you round your shoulders and we're looking at our phones and we're just going ahead and shortening our muscles. And then you wonder why you have a rotator cuff tear, or you wonder why, my knee hurts, or my elbow hurts, or I can't toss up so much my serve. So all of it is all interwoven. All of it is. And this way you can go ahead and get, when you were a kid and you would run around, you're like, I feel great, and swim and stuff. You can feel that much better in your body like that with yoga.
Beautiful.
I mean, I can't Benjamin Button you and still be a 12-year-old, but you can still feel that way internally.
Speaking of which, I loved your hashtag, age with ease. And I want to talk a little bit, not about the aging aspect of it, but the performance aspect of it. When somebody has been driving a desk for 30 years and the posture is here, and this person used to be quick, but now she or he is 45, 50, 52, whatever, and there's no question, maybe you've lost a half a step. But if my posture is as it was on a computer writing something, I'm not going to read that ball very well. I'm not going to poach that volley very well. But if I am this, and I'm ready, and I'm athletic, and I'm alert, whether that's the age with ease or the movement is medicine sort of philosophy, I'd love for you to take us through not just generically the benefits of it, but what are these people gaining? I know for me, it's that alertness, and I want to be able to breathe, and I want my shoulders here, I want my eyes forward. And if somebody's kind of used to this, well, guess what they're going to do at 4-all in the third set? They're probably going to look like this, and under pressure, their pressure response is a meek, mild volley, or dang, I wish I had gone for that ball, but I didn't, right? So tell us a little bit about that empowerment and the boldness that you get and the confidence that you get from having done your classes.
Okay, so also one other thing, too, is if you've been driving a desk and you're rounded, right? I mean, just like when you get too close to the ball, when you're like, oh, I'm too close, I kind of, T-Rex arms, right?
Yeah.
It's just when you're rounded, how can you have a powerful serve? Because you've counter-stretched it to a way that it's not natural. Does that make sense?
It makes total sense.
So when you, the nice thing about yoga, you don't even know it, you're doing counter stretches to, this is the area of in the Sanskrit that's called the heart space, right? So we spend so much time scrolling and looking down, and you see the top of people's heads, and then I'll open up with the poses, open up that heart space. Like I always give a cue, pretend you're trying to squeeze a pencil between the shoulder blades and it's not going to fall.
Right? It's back there.
How often do you do that? You don't do that all day, hi, everybody, right? But in yoga, you can do that. So then when you do need to make that toss, you've got bloop, right up there, right? And that's what I was talking about with the shoulder girdle. The shoulder is one of the most mobile joints in the body. So, and arguably the serve is the most important shot in tennis. So I really stress people, don't ignore your shoulders. Tennis players, don't ignore your shoulders. You want to counter stretch. You want to do those poses that I have in the book that I've selected specifically for tennis players so that you can stay nice. And I also work on muscle endurance. Why is that so important? So when you're holding your arms out in a yoga pose, you're building muscle endurance in your arms, because it doesn't really feel that great to just sit here for all the time. If you do it more, you're going to build endurance.
Yeah.
And then when you need to keep going on a tennis match, you've got that muscle endurance. You can call on that. Same thing when your legs and feet feel like bricks when you have been out there for an hour. You've got to train those quads, right, for muscle endurance so that you can stay springy and split step and get to that shot. And so the nice thing, it is such a symbiotic relationship. The nice thing is about all the yoga poses can get you set up for success so that you do have that range of motion. I don't know anybody that doesn't know tennis players with ankle braces, knee braces, elbow braces. I used to have a really great serve, right? And they, barely put it up, and then they, and that's fine. It works for them, but they sit in no man's land. They can't move. I call them statues, right? Uh-huh. They're just statues sitting there like, hold on, just make sure you send it to my wingspan. But, the nice thing is you don't have to continue that way. You can prevent and start correcting some of those bad habits. But whether, anybody at any age, it's for everybody. It's never too late. That's what I'm trying to say.
I wanted to go back to meditating. My wife accuses me of meditating while she's talking to me. Is that okay? With my eyes open? Can you meditate with your eyes open?
I'm going to probably defer that to your wife.
We have a couple of good questions. Can I interject a couple?
Please, yeah, we got a couple of good ones rolling in.
Okay, so we use from Rick Eckloff. What is the minimal length of a yoga session should be? So that's really a good question. Yeah. Is there a maximum length of a session as well? So short version, long version. What's kind of in your
Actually, there's as many different yoga styles and time slots for yoga as there are people, right? I mean, if you want a restorative class, they've got those. Usually those are about an hour. If you want a quick express yoga, maybe 30, 45 minutes of a yoga class. My classes are an hour. Mm-hmm. That's typically, but if you're starting out, let's say on YouTube, and you find some great instructor there and we're going to do an hour class, and you're like, gosh, this is really, I don't know if I can finish it. Turn it off. You did some yoga for your body. That's good. And then we go back a little bit, maybe you'll get to go a little longer next time, right? I know I sound like a snake oil sales lady, but it really is that transformative, and it feels so much better. So, and then, I talk about mobility and stability. You've got to have stability in your body. And that's what I work on with my fitness yoga classes. And what I did with the Navy was functional fitness. Functional fitness is doing exercises that mimic everyday life, right? So squats are going to help you get up and down and out of chairs. And, step ups are going to help you with stairs, right? Going up and down your stairs at home, and push-ups, when you need to reach up maybe and reach something at the grocery store, which I get asked all the time here because as Americans migrated, they got taller on the West Coast. And so I'm like this, very tall person here, like, excuse me, ma'am. I'm like, which one do you need?
Yeah, I got you.
I can get it for you. But, yeah, exactly. So that brings me to the fun ladies I play with. Sometimes they call me the space needle. Like, keep it away from the space needle at the net, right? And I'm like, well, at least you remember where I'm from. So, but yeah, so.
So there's really no length. It's whatever.
There's really no length. And you can do something as short as 20 minutes, right? You could just get in, get out. If you just need to de-stress and you've had a bad day, go find a restorative class. Go find a gentle yoga class online.
What about? hot yoga versus regular yoga is? I mean, we hear that here in Dallas. That's kind of the big thing. I've heard from our members at the club, hot yoga, when they turn it up to like 150 degrees in the room and people pass out. Is that good?
Well, if you have any medical conditions, of course, consult your doctor. I have to say that. But if you've got high blood pressure issues, or you've got any kind of maybe an endocrine disorder, you might want to maybe be by the back of the door so you can get out if you need to. But it's really personal preference. Some people swear by it and they love it and they just feel like they got a workout in. Some people are like, I don't want anything to do with it. The bottom line is, whether you're at a hot yoga studio or you're doing yoga in your living room or you're doing a regular yoga class, you're just still doing yoga. Yeah. So that's the beautiful thing of it. The nice thing also about yoga, whether or not you're in a hot yoga studio or whatever, yoga poses, there's yoga poses for your metabolism and your thyroid gland, right? That you can stimulate your metabolism. There's yoga poses for twisting, will keep your internal organs efficiently running. Headaches. There's so many it's a very ancient, discipline. There's so many things that can help with anything that might be happening to you, right? So whether or not you're in a hot yoga studio or regular, you're still doing yoga. So I did hot yoga for a number of years, but I prefer to do a regular studio. And when I teach my fitness classes, I add functional fitness moves into my class. It's all low impact. So I've got that internal body core temperature going. People are kind of getting breathless. But it's not it's not like I'm sitting there. We're not like jumping around or anything. And we're doing yoga. If that makes sense. A lot of core work, a lot of upper body strength, a lot of glutes, a lot of quads, working on our ankles, because as you know, ankles are really quite mobile too. You need to keep those nice and strong. But back to where the stability is, I like to build stability in everyone's body. Why? As we get older, you're going to have a less likely chance of falling, right? So you build stability, then you can work on your mobility, right? And then your flexibility. So do you need stability on the tennis court? Yes. You need to be able to not be leaning, right, off the court, right? You need to be stable, both legs. You also need mobility to get quickly to maybe a drop shot. But
I know everybody's doubles partner will appreciate that, because if somebody is nervous about falling, they're going to say yours when they get lobbed all the time. And if somebody is like stable, solid ankles, excellent serve or overhead, they're like this and they want to get lobbed.
Yeah,
and they want
give it to me.
Give it. Yeah, I'll get back 4 steps and crack an overhead. So there's that confidence, mental strength, and happy doubles partner aspect of having the stability that you're talking about. I want to mention there are a couple of profiles of tennis coaches. We used to, on this show, have a segment called sort of like Seinfeld's Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee. We had coaches courtside making fun of other coaches, and
oh my gosh, I love it.
We tennis coaches sometimes really lean heavily on cones and ladders and agility, and we need that, and our players need that. But when the person is a bit weak and that person is working her butt off on his butt off on a few things that are potentially injurious, we want that ankle stability and we want a cool down and a proper stretch. And the other profile I have is not really of coaches, but of players, particularly taller women. We see a lot of tennis players. Actually, I said taller women, but Nick Kyrgios is a fantastic example of a tall man, massive serve, but he's got this kind of posture.
Sure does.
And I'm going to, this stat is not official, but I believe it's something near 25% of the college players that I see who are taller women have a lot of this going on because they are kind of developed with two-handed backhands and a lot of strength this way, and they need you to get that pencil in the back of the shoulders. So maybe you can talk a little bit about the high-performance side and what your advice might be to some of these really good players, some of these coaches who work with not just the rec player, but college players, like the top level.
Right. Okay. So tennis is a very strong one-side dominant sport.
Yes.
Right.
Righty. Yeah. Lefty.
Very strong. Right. I mean, you could do probably bicep curls. I'm right-handed. I could do bicep curls all day with my right hand, and then my left hand, I get a little heavier weight. I'm like, ah, right. So you don't have to lift weights because yoga on itself is an excellent strength training.
Yeah.
You're using the whole body weight. You're not using a 10-pound dumbbell. You're using your body weight to do the yoga poses and the yoga flow poses. But you want to go and build more symmetry in your body, which is why you go and we do balanced poses for yoga. Do a tree pose. Most everybody knows what tree pose is. And you go on the right side and you're like, oh, this is all I could do this all day.
Easy, yeah.
Right? Then they change to the left.
And we go to the left.
Right?
Yeah.
But that's the beautiful thing about yoga. It gives you immediate feedback. Oh, God, I didn't realize it was so unstable on my left foot. So what does that do? The more symmetrical you can build your body, right, the more that it doesn't matter. Let's say you get caught off guard and you're like, oh, my God, okay. And you can go ahead and get your body into position where you can get to that shot and then, split step and shuffle back and also working on that quadricep development, right, with the fast twitch and slow twitch muscles, which, is something, one is speed, one was endurance. You want to go ahead and build that endurance in that so that you can be explosive on the court. The higher level players need that. You also need to get your cardiovascular endurance up, right? So low impact things with maybe a couple dumbbells. You can do, what they call it, forward fold into yoga, and then, jump out or step out to a plank. You maybe jump up or step up, and you take those weights up and keep doing it, right? You are going to get breathless. You are training your cardiovascular system, right? You need to do that while you're out there, those high-level players. They need to be out there doing that. Doesn't mean they have to be beating themselves up and doing a bunch of suicides, which I used to do all the time in basketball.
Basketball, tennis too, yeah. Yes,
exactly. You don't always have to do that. You can also, you want to work on your cardiovascular. You want to work on your explosive muscle endurance and power. So you need a flexible spine. You need a really strong core because everything originates right there.
Yeah.
So if you want to keep a healthy blood flow between the vertebrae so that you can reach up, shoulder extension, and get that little more. I heard you talk earlier this week about how you want to get a little more MPH on your serve.
Of course.
And that's how you've got to keep it. You've got to elongate the spine, keep the muscle bellies nice and long, keep it. And you don't want to be sedentary. You don't want to shorten the muscles because then what happens? You get older, you shuffle. The seniors out there shuffling is because they just sit there, right? And the muscles shorten, so their range of motion is. So I'm sure that won't happen to you guys, but
let's hope not. No thanks. Yeah. Hey, I want to get to a really cool question by a remarkably fit tennis coach we know who's also really into music. He and I, and this week you and I geeked out a little bit on music leading into this. He mentioned, is it Marconi Union?
Yes.
Weightless, a song. What kind of music do you use in your classes?
Okay, so I like mine upbeat because I'm using, it's a fitness yoga. I'm a huge fan of Motown. So I'll do some Motown, or I'll do some, the nice thing about now is a lot of the popular songs, like the Biggie one, right? You can get an instrumental version of that, right? Or they might slow it down a little bit, or you can just do, I'll dub some things together where it's like, oh, I remember that, like Under Pressure from David Bowie and Queen. That's a great song during class, right? So you're not getting distracted when somebody's trying to, sing along in class. So I like to kind of do upbeat stuff that people all recognize. So, people are like, oh, I love your music. Or I'll do some Summer Wind by Frank Sinatra. I mean, that's a great song, too. Yeah. So I might be dating myself, but I love that song.
You had some great ones. You had Van Morrison. She had Stevie Wonder this past week. You mentioned David Bowie, Queen. Yeah, that was awesome.
And then, of course, the illustrious Herb Alpert, right?
Herb Alpert, Rise.
I can remember my dad back in the day with this Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass.
Yes.
8-track, right?
Right.
8-track.
Right.
8 tracks back in the day.
It's funny, when our sons hear Rise by Herb Alpert, they think it's Hypnotized by Biggie, Notorious B.I.G.
Of course.
That completely recognizable bass line. And then, what's horns? What are horns doing in this? That's so funny. Well, should we get to the third set, CB1?
We can head over to the third set.
Let's do it. But now's a good time. Tell us about Love, Set, and Match.
Yes.
I want people to be able to get a hold of you and grab that book.
Yep.
Okay, so no question is off the table. People get intimidated. Like, I know I'm going to probably ask you something stupid. No. Ask away. My Instagram is Seattle Gray.
Yep.
And lovesetmatch.net is the website where PK has a website and he has a shop there. So you would go to the shop, just like anything when you're online shopping, you find the Yoga for Tennis book that's on there. It's $5, right? Add it to your cart, download it within 7 days once you buy it. It's on your phone. So that's the way to get the book. But it's like having a personal yogi that also plays tennis in your phone. That's really what it's like. Yeah.
Brilliant. So lovesetmatch.net, and your Instagram is Seattle and then the letter M, and then it's Gray with the Gray. I know some people might want to go EY. Seattle M Gray with the AY, like the color.
I'm surprised you didn't go with like Washington Huskies or something like that, because that's your.
I went to the UW, so I'm a big Husky fan. Yeah,
right. I knew that. I was doing a little research.
I have a bone to pick with you, Craig. I know you're from Oklahoma City, and you guys stole our Oklahoma City Sonics. So
I thought she was going to say stole our Thunder, but she's still calling them the Sonics. Love it.
We all do up there. If Oklahoma City Sonics are on, did they make the playoffs? Okay.
Well, I was
that's an NBA team. Hopefully, we'll get one back. But that's a fun thing to do. You go.
Your city clearly deserves an NBA team for sure.
Well,
back in my day, we didn't have the Seahawks yet. Oh my God, I sound old. And we didn't have the Mariners, so I was a rabid Supersonics fan. And of course, we won the national championship, world champion in 1979.
Yeah,
right.
So, Lenny
Wilkins
went to my church, and he was also our high school speaker for our graduation. And so it was just, Sonic Town, big Sonic Town.
I always just think of Jack Sikma.
Oh, yes, Big Jack.
Big Jack.
It's funny that a lot of those players still live in the Northwest, all these years later. So they're trying to get the team back. So
Sam Perkins, wasn't Sam Perkins up there for a little bit also?
He was, yes.
All right. So I'm dating myself.
Yeah, you are. You too. Remember the 70s NBA. It's great.
And downtown Freddie Brown, Slick Watts, all those guys.
Yes. There was some good players up there in the Pacific Northwest. But,
upper left corner, we're known as the upper left corner people.
Well, I am Native American. We steal a lot of things, so I'll just leave it at that. So, but I was not in Oklahoma at the time. That the Thunder, I can't really lay claim to the Thunder, even though.
So you've been here. You're a Mavs guy, we like the Mavericks.
Okay.
Yeah,
I can lay ownership to the Mavs and the Spurs. I did live in San Antonio.
San Antonio. You lived down there for in the 90s.
Late 80s.
Late 80s.
Late 80s. Yeah. And I was actually.
But just like tennis has evolved, the NBA has evolved. I mean, it's not really the same game anymore. But I wanted to also ask you guys, the question is, if you have ever taken the trip to Newport, Rhode Island to the Tennis Hall of Fame.
I love the Hall of Fame. I grew up in New York, and my dad and I, it was kind of a pilgrimage, not every summer, but we did it a lot and hit on grass, that horseshoe that horseshoe, beautiful court. Tell us about your experience. And I want to let Craig answer too.
No, I don't like tennis.
Oh, yeah.
I don't like tennis.
You've never been? You've never been to the Tennis Hall of Fame?
Who cares about that place?
You like it.
Amazing.
I would love to. No one's ever invited me, so even
we're going.
My pal AJ.
We're going.
Well, we'll go up with. We'll get Marcia and we'll drive up to Newport, Rhode Island.
I'm such a geek. I've been there for tennis, for playing, for the Campbell's Soup
Have you really?
tournament.
Were you?
And for a car show at the Hall of Fame.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I've been there at least like 8 times.
It's a beautiful place.
Amazing
it really
town.
Is. And every time I go, they change the exhibit, so it's nice. That you don't really see a lot of the same stuff. Spent several years there because being married to a naval officer, there's a lot of naval education and training there. Yeah. So love it there. That's one of my favorite places in the country.
Did you have your white cardigan with your with your cigarette holder when you were going up there and a highball? Did you?
No smoking, but I may have had a cardigan with a letter on it. Yes. My high school.
There's nothing wrong with that. How tennis of you.
2 stripes if you're a sophomore, 3 if you're a junior, 4.
4 if you're a senior.
That's it. You remember.
Anyways, I can highly recommend that to your listeners, and that is. I mean, if you're a tennis fan, you will, as you know, AJ.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a great trip.
Oh, I mean, even just American history, even just all these novels that were written there. Yep. Jackie Onassis, John F. Kennedy. Everybody thinks of Boston or the Cape or Hyannisport or whatever, but they were married in Newport, Rhode Island.
Yep. And also, they even have the early version of tennis, and they have courts that people still play those early versions of tennis. You're looking at it like, what in the heck is this? Racquetball?
Indoors.
And you see these women in these, inch booties and their long Victorian shirts and their long Victorian skirts and their bonnet and everything. I would be like, get that off of me. Yeah. Here, right? I don't know how they did it in that heat. I don't know how they did.
On the men's perspective, it's a long sleeve shirt, Oxford cloth, flannel pants, and a belt. Right. And I'm feeling like my version of what you're feeling is get that off, roll those up.
You had to roll the sleeves up.
And the itchy wall pants. Yeah. But that's a fun, and that's an actually working club too. Yeah. They've got members that are playing and such. So, I know that you can. We try to go up once a year. I love it up there in the summertime, but I know you can play on the grass for like $250 an hour. So, it's just a treat, right?
Amazing treat.
Chump change for him.
I've never played on that horseshoe court. I've been able to. My dad and I got to hit on one of the outside courts, and I don't remember that it was $250. Yeah. My dad either.
It probably was gone up. That was a going rate last summer. So I was like, well, if there's foursome, maybe you could split it, but just to have that would be fun. And they close them off in October. They shut them down, the outdoor grass courts. Like the marquee one, they shut that down in October to keep it preserved. But
they even shut it down. Like if you want a court at 9:30 or 10 in the morning, you can't. Like the dew has to leave.
1 o'clock.
The court has to harden, and then something like 11 or noon is the first res.
Kind of like Wimbledon.
Yeah. Just Wimbledon is probably 12 or 1.
Yeah,
I remember the final is always at 2 p.m. precisely.
Right.
Remember that old film when we were kids? Yes. At 2 p.m. precisely when the men's final. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So,
thanks for asking about Newport. You're a regular up there. I love it.
I am a regular up there. I absolutely love it up there. It's just lived there a couple times. My son was born there.
Really?
Yeah. So,
cool. Let's do some yoga up there. We'll go up there and do some yoga
on the grass.
On the grass.
Oh, well, if I ever see you guys in a tennis tournament, I'll work you out first.
Thank you.
And then we'll do some yoga.
Right.
And then you'll do a shavasana, and you'll be like, I'm good. Let's go hit some golf balls.
Then we'll go.
right?
Namaste.
Yeah.
At the very end right there. But should we get to the third set?
Well, let's go third set, bud.
Third set. All right. This is going to be
Yes.
fun. This is sponsored by Master Systems, our good buddy Blair Descaray. If those who of you are listening, watching, talking about things that you might want to do, see our buddy Blair Descaray. He can do anything in tennis, basically, other than teach lessons. He doesn't teach lessons. No, maybe he can. Maybe Blair
I
can.
bet he could.
He's pretty good.
He's good. Yeah, he played good level younger.
He's a great guy.
Do you both still teach lessons?
Oh yeah.
you do? Okay.
We're actively involved.
We do. We're active teachers. Craig still plays in a high level
USTA league.
USTA league. Yeah.
Old farts. They need yoga. A lot of those guys, they like what you're talking about. They're walking and they do the waddle. They just kind of shuffle and waddle at the same time. So there's a bunch of clients.
I got a girl for that. I got know a yogi that can help them. I mean, I got a guy, whatever you say. I got a guy for that. It really is that helpful. Just a little bit here, just adding a little bit can help with your athletic performance.
Yeah.
And, those aches and pains, you're not going to look like the 85-year-old that's like, out on the court, right?
Yeah.
And if you are currently like that, you can better and, reduce that. Not to mention, you're going to reduce your risk of injuries. I mean, it's just...
That's
Feel
huge.
better.
You guys
Feel better, look better, all that.
That
right?
is huge. Yeah.
So, all right, here we go.
All right.
First band you saw in concert. Earth, Wind, and Fire,
Seattle Center.
Wow.
Yes.
The great Earth, Wind, and Fire. Wow.
Yes. That was quite and I'm not going to tell you the year. A little while ago.
I'm trying to think of that. What was the place that you saw them at? You said
Seattle Center, where the Sonics used to play.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I was sitting there thinking. I didn't quite hear that. I thought it was the Seattle Center.
Yeah, right near the needle, right near all the stuff. Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah.
It's right there. It was all there. Yeah.
Wow.
Have you guys been to Seattle very much?
I've never been. Have you been?
I love Seattle. I used to play there was one tournament in the summers at Seattle Tennis Club.
Yes,
on McGillivray Avenue. It's one of those names you can't forget. Beautiful place. I love your city.
It is beautiful, yeah.
And I've actually never been there in the winter, and everybody talks about the rain, and I kind of don't believe it because every time I've been there, it's been amazing.
Beautiful, sunny. You can see the water and the Mount Rainier and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, there's snow there. The sky is blue, and everything's down here is green. And I still don't believe it rains up there. Of course, I've seen it on the news.
But everything's green, so you gotta have a little rain for that.
Yeah.
So.
I remember we were playing University of Washington, and I was talking to this one guy, and he was from the Washington area. I was like, I've never been to Washington State, actually. I've been to Oregon, but I've never been up to the what'd you call that? The left area?
The upper left corner.
Yeah. Never visited it. That's one place I'd like to visit one day, but. So we were
fall or summer. I'm gonna say summer or fall. That's probably the best time. Yeah,
probably like August. That's I don't like to be cold, but he said I was asking. I go, I heard it rains a lot up there, and he goes, no, not really. And all the other guys on the team were like, no, this guy is no, he's wrong. And I was like, I thought it kind of did. We were just kind of chit chatting. I can talk to the wall if I need to, but I just asked this open-ended question. He goes, no, it doesn't rain up there that much. And I was like, these other guys are going, oh my goodness, yeah. This guy's crazy. Are you kidding? It rains about 362 days a year.
But fun fact, AJ, it actually rains in New York City more volume-wise than Seattle.
I've read that. Even in Dallas, Texas, we get more inches of rain. They get more days of rain.
Right. It's just kind of that little mist up there. Yeah, all over the place. But all right, if you could hear a band in concert, what band would you like to hear? What would you like to hear?
Okay, I'm a big classic. Well, it was rock back in my day, but now
sure,
rock. I never did get to see him because he passed away, but Tom Petty. Love Tom Petty.
Oh yeah, I was going.
Yeah, I love him. He was on my thing to do, and unfortunately, but so yeah, Tom Petty. I love any guitar, that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, I was about when you said he died. I was going, okay, who died just recently? So I was kind of going there, and the Heartbreakers, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
I thought it was going to
Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite band? Favorite?
Growing up. Rolling Stones.
Ah, okay.
Rolling Stones, yeah.
Like 60s Rolling Stones, 70s, 80s?
70s, 80s Rolling Stones. I mean, I like some of the classics in the 60s, I do, but
like Satisfaction.
I've seen them like 3 or 4 times. Right. And they're still, 152 years old and still going.
I think Mick does some yoga.
For all of us, right?
Mick has had some practice on this move with the shoulders back.
With the pencil opening going on.
He's got it. He's got the hard space.
He's putting the pencil in his back, kind of walking around.
There.
I have an old athletic director from the Navy who, when he retired, he went to his boyhood home up in Long Island, and he said, "Marcia, I kid you not, but sometimes in the summertime, I see Mick Jagger just jogging, on the road." I'm like, what? What? Like just jogging on the road. And he's like, yeah, he's very fit and all that. And I was like, wow. So he's still, he takes care of himself. I think he's trying to make up for maybe those, lots of firewater days.
That's
when there was
firewater.
A lot of that. Hey,
a lot of party.
Great question from Nick Smith.
Yes.
Seattle is known as the grunge capital of the world. Were you into the grunge scene ever? He asked that question. Did you ever get into Kurt Cobain?
It's very, very, it was very popular there. Really popular. It was the birthplace. But I never really got into it. I just really liked my Motown and my, I guess you'd call it classic rock now. I really liked that, went to Bruce Springsteen, Bob Seger, all those guys. I even went to the Knack. You remember them?
Oh, yeah.
My
The Knack, yes.
Right.
Remember them? My Sharona, the one hit wonders, the Cars. Right. So
Gary, what was that guy? Gary, the lead singer, Gary
U.S. Bond.
That's it.
Yeah. The Knack, yes, that was a great group right there.
The Knack experienced 70s, a quick resurgence about a year ago when the coronavirus came back. So everybody was doing a cover of My Corona.
Oh, right.
My Sharona.
Yeah. And now you don't hear it anymore because the vaccine took care of that.
Didn't Weird Al do My Sharona or my Corona? Didn't he do the?
That's right. He did.
He did a parody of that. Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
My Corona or something like that. Forgot about that. That's too funny right there. They're big with knack jokes. Did you hear that? Knack. Who's there? Have you heard that? Knack. Sorry. They went on deaf ears, didn't it? Yeah. I was meditating.
Crickets, buddy. Crickets.
Is that it? Yeah.
Wait, what did I miss? Am I missing something? Yeah.
No, I said knack instead of knock, and so it was like so right there. So that's about what that was. All right.
I like how you have your little sound effects at the ready right there.
That's actually the first time we've used the crickets.
Oh, great! On my interview podcast. Thanks, guys.
Basically, here's what this joke did.
Stinks.
We have a bunch of stuff right there. So
I have a feeling you guys are big fans of Caddyshack.
Oh my goodness!
Like all fellas, all guys, yeah.
Oh my goodness!
Caddyshack, Animal House, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, which line do you want me to quote?
What's your favorite?
Oh, I don't know.
Craig basically grew up at the tennis equivalent of Bushwood Country Club in Oklahoma City. Yeah. It's called Wood Lake Racket Club.
Yes,
and that's where the kid was.
I'm writing a story about it at some point. It's going to be a movie.
It's going to be a movie or a screenplay.
I like it.
And if you're my age, you lived it. If you're Craig's age, which is you're only 8-9 years older than me, but Craig lived that, then the movie came out after him. Oh, yeah. So in a way, like if I'm imitating Caddyshack, I'm imitating Caddyshack. This guy, I feel like whoever wrote that movie consulted with you.
Yeah, no, we had a groundskeeper. His name was Joel. He was telepathically commuting with a guy in Colorado. No, this guy's name's Joel. Telepathically communicating with a guy in Colorado. He said, and I was like, and he did grow pot in the shed by the pool house.
Certain kinds of grass.
He did.
I kid you not. On the side. Nah, okay.
Oh my God. Yeah, and I got a pro here in town, a friend of mine. He can verify all this stuff because we grew up at this club together, and we laugh every time that we see each other. We don't even have to start talking. We just start looking at each other. All right, so another question. Here's the next question. If you're in a band, or maybe you are in a band, do you play music? Are you a musician of any? Did you ever?
I took my obligatory from my Catholic school nuns piano lessons.
Ah, okay.
For about 12 years.
Okay.
Right? Started when I was really young. And then once we got to high school, I'm like, I can't do that anymore. I've got an image. I got to kind of back away from that. I love it. I still can pick it up. But if I was in a band, what would I be?
Yeah, well, lead singer, lead guitarist, drummer, keyboardist, bass guitarist, glockenspiel player like me. I'm the glockenspiel player in the back.
The harpist.
Harpist.
Let's see. I think I would be the lead guitarist. I'm really into those riffs, those Eric Claptons, those Tom Petty's, those kind of guys. I just, the Led Zeppelin Stairway to Heaven, that guitar. It's really, that's really talented in my book.
I like her.
You do not want to hear me sing.
Right. I like her. Marcia's got, man, she's
also got the piano or guitar hands. Look at those hands she's got.
Yeah.
Those long fingers you have. Yeah.
Yes, I had to, and I got smacked many times by my sister Jane about
the nuns,
making sure I had that form.
They got the ruler out and smacked you a couple of times.
Oh yeah, that back in those days. Yes, right. Back in those days. Yes.
First paid gig. Who was your first paid job back there in Washington?
I worked at state fairs when I was 15 and the scone wagon with my sister.
Really?
Right?
At the state fair?
When you go to the state fair, they have those scones and everything. Yeah. And one of our neighbors was the guy that started the scone company. So he was like, you two. I'm like, I'm not even 16. I'm going to go ahead. You can go anyway. So that was my first foray into being an actual working person.
Did you actually make the scone, or did you go out and go,
we
hey,
did
scone?
Make the scone.
Did you really make scone?
And our infinite wisdom, my sister and I, we love to bake. And so back in the day, we would kind of undercook the cookies because once they would come out, they'd be a little chewy, right? And, bendy. So we were like, let's do that with the scones, right? There's nobody fleecing us, right?
Right.
So they're like, here's your, Sunday scone with all, with the strawberries and stuff. And I literally saw one man go, just get it out. He goes, nope, this is junk. And I was like, I guess we better probably cook it through, It's terrible. Hopefully nobody never died from our
your half-baked scones.
We thought we were great. Our cookies were always fabulous. So
funny up in Seattle, they it's so British of them to have scones, and in Texas, the state fair would have a deep fried Oreo or a turkey
Dr.
leg
Pepper
or something.
Fried Dr. Pepper.
You guys have a pretty big Texas state fair. Is that in Arlington?
Dallas.
It's actually in Dallas, in what's called Fair Park, inside Dallas.
If you've never been to the fair in Texas,
this is one of the best.
That's what's got that big Tex Duke.
Big Tex.
Big Tex, and this Ferris wheel called what was it called? How am I blanking on the Texas Star?
It's Texas Star.
Texas Star.
Oh, right.
Massive Ferris wheel.
And that's, Cotton Bowl's played, Cotton Bowl, OU Texas has always played there. Cotton Bowl game has actually moved over to Jerry World.
That's where you're thinking Arlington. That's what's in Arlington.
Oh, okay.
Used to be a big bowl game at the Fair Stadium, Fair Park, but since Jerry moved over about 20 miles to the west and has an indoor.
Is it really 20 miles?
It's about
Ouch.
20 miles.
Yeah.
It's something like that, probably.
That just reminded me, Craig, is that you are from Oklahoma, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And the Huskies played OSU in a big game, I think maybe, I want to say early 90s, maybe, right around that time.
Yeah, okay.
And then the Sooner Schooner just toppled onto the, remember that? It toppled onto the field, and it was just, and the poor horse was going everywhere. Do you remember that?
Yes, I see it on
OU against UW.
Yes, I remember that. I
remember that. That reminds me, it was a big thing. It was the poor covered wagon was going everywhere, and everybody was, They
went a little fast around the corner.
It was a little
they were a little excited. It was usually they run the Sooner Schooner after touchdowns. That's usually the historical perspective like that. They drove just a little too quick around the corner and didn't quite make the turn. Yes, the cheerleaders.
For whatever reason, that sticks in my mind.
No, I remember the Sooner Schooner doing that. So good memory. All right, favorite movie, TV show. What do you like to do? Do you watch YouTube videos of yoga, that kind of stuff, or do you just like regular people and just chill out and watch Netflix and that kind of stuff.
I like Netflix. This is going to sound like I'm a psychopath, and which I promise you I'm not, but I'm from the land of like serial killers, of the Ted Bundys and the Green River Killer and stuff. So I like where the killer is. I like those kind of like, oh my God, ladies, get out of the house. There's a killer. I don't know. I just like that, right? And maybe documentaries about him, because I want to see in the mind of the psychopath, because, they could be a next door neighbor, for God's sake. So, I kind of like those suspense things. And I promise you, I have no amount of serial killer in me. I'm just very fascinated by that.
Okay,
right. And by the way, my sister was at the University of Washington when Ted Bundy was on his unfortunate spree there. So, and on the radio station, they're like, we're looking for a gold Volkswagen bug and blah, 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 blah. When he was on the loose, kind of where he started his way all the way down to Utah and Colorado and then Florida. But so we were all, there was 5 girls. We were all, the age that he would have the prime targets of. And of course, I was like, oh, there's a Volkswagen bug on the freeway. And we're like, oh my God. So, it just kind of, Why didn't you have a gold bug? He's pointing to you.
Yes, he did. He did have a bug.
I had the opposite.
And you had the seats taken out. You had all your crowbar and everything in there. And so, but yeah, those kind of things fascinate me. And I do like to watch a lot of fitness things. And I just want to always keep on top of my game and see whatever people are doing. And I just got my fitness nutrition certification through ACE to kind of put that component into my with my clients. I do a lot of one-on-one clients in addition to teaching yoga. So I love it. It's really rewarding. I worked with one really sweet lady who is early 50s and was born with a genetic knee issue, had a knee replacement and was not doing well. And the doctors have told her, you're going to need to amputate. And she's like, I'm not going to get that amputated. And now, it's a beautiful thing. It's very rewarding. She's jump squatting, her version of it. She's jumping rope. Yes, it's amazing. It's just so amazing. And it's just that's why I do what I do. I love being a part of that story. Just whatever I can help.
Nice.
Well,
so,
another story I want to ask you then. So I heard you talk about whodunits. Lee Harvey Oswald. Was he a lone shooter, or was there a conspiracy out there with a bunch of people? If you like those kind of things, and we're in Dallas, so we're home of the. So
you probably heard so many different versions, but I kind of think he was the mastermind behind it. He might have had help. What do you guys think?
Oh, I think
I don't know if it was conspiracy.
I think there's other shooters out there. I'm not the lone gunman person.
Yeah, I think he had help. There was other guys out there. What about you, AJ? What do you think?
Yeah.
I'm even more of a conspiracy nut than Craig Bell. Yeah, I believe it. I live kind of down that way, and it's pretty cool to see these whack jobs who are brilliant, who make stuff up, and then you can kind of feel like, okay, I've heard that one before, I haven't heard that one, and of course I'll geek out on a Richard Linklater movie or an Oliver Stone movie, and that's kind of fun too. Yeah.
Do you guys like the military movies? Like the action military ones, Navy SEAL, Oliver Stone, Top Gun 2 was supposed to come out this last year, but because of coronavirus, you guys are into those kind of movies too?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
I like Rambo. I like Johnny Rambo, man. I like that first one. I think that's great because that was filmed in the Pacific Northwest, I think, around Oregon, wasn't it? The first Rambo?
I believe so, yes.
No, I like that kind of stuff. I liked him falling out of the tree and he's sitting there, stitching
sewing
up his
himself
arm.
up. Amazing.
It's not a big deal.
I think Marcia trained him.
Must have.
Oh, well, I'd love to. I'd love to.
Sylvester,
what 70 whatever years old he is.
Yeah,
so.
She's a lot younger than Stallone, but somehow when she was making scones, she was training the guy.
I was training him, and he was consulting. I told him not to eat any scones. It would be great for his body fat percentage.
Breakfast, lunch, or dinner? What do you like? Breakfast, lunch, or dinner?
I'm a big breakfast.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Still with the scones and all that?
I'm not. I try to be a little healthier than that. I try to, not, strap on the feed bag and, eat everything. And, you know what I mean? I just try to be a little bit smarter. Of course, I believe in cheat days because it makes people crazy otherwise. But, just kind of dialing it back after you might have splurged on something. So, what kind of cardio and kind of diets do you guys going to do? I got to ask because that's my.
I like Whataburger. We have Whataburger down in Texas. I go to Whataburger every meal. Burritos, breakfast burritos, tacos.
You are amazingly in non-Whataburger shape then.
He's pretty fit, and he still has a huge serve, so he's still flexible up here in the heart space and all that.
I do this all the time.
Still has a great serve, yeah.
Question here. I think this is a really good question. We've had a lot of good answers on this one. I'm interested to see where you go with this. All right, so we know AJ and I will be invited to this party or soiree. I like to say soiree since I'm from Oklahoma. And you're having dinner. Who would you invite besides, maybe your immediate family, AJ and I, 4 people or more even? It can be anybody from history. You can invite the Dalai Lama if you wanted to, or maybe Sylvester Stallone. He might want to show up. Johnny Rambo. Who are 4 people maybe that you'd like to have over or more?
Okay, well, I'm a big music buff, right? So Marvin Gaye.
Oh, Motown Marvin.
Yeah, love Marvin. Always love Marvin. I'd say, let's see, Roger Federer.
Ooh, okay, good one.
Because I was such a fan when I was a kid, Mick Jagger. We can talk about that pencil behind the shoulders.
Right.
Gosh, who else? I'm a big fan of trailblazers that made an impact in history. I got to say, Billie Jean and the Original Nine. I mean, come on.
That'd be interesting. Yeah.
What a great conversation between Marvin, Billie Jean, Roger.
And
That'd be
Mick.
awesome. And Mick Jagger.
Mick might be hitting on all the ladies.
Mick Jagger.
In fact, I think Mick and I could maybe lead a yoga class.
I bet Mick would hang with you.
I think so.
Every move, yeah.
That's a pretty good group. I like that.
That would be kind of an eclectic mix of people, wouldn't it?
Yeah. What are you serving at the party, at this soiree?
What's the food?
What's the food? What's the fare?
I'm a big, well, of course I like Mexican food, but and I gotta say I love my East Coast people, but the Mexican food on the East Coast is nothing like the West Coast, right? I mean, I don't know if you guys noticed that when you travel to the East Coast, but especially down in your Tex-Mex area. Down in Dallas area, but I am a big lover of really good Italian food. I love to cook. So there's a Roman dish called cacio e pepe. It's cheese and pepper.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever had that?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, that's probably what I would serve that.
Cheese and pepper. What's it called?
Cheese and pepper, and it's
Cacio
creamy,
e
and
pepe.
it's cacio e pepe, and it's amazing. It's really hard to make. It's simple ingredients, but you've got to get it right. So
interesting. I hadn't heard of that. AJ's heard of everything. He's heard of everything.
About everything.
AJ's the worldly man. Has been everywhere and done everything.
Very lucky I've gotten to live east and west, so that has helped. Yeah.
Right. All right. Well, that's a good party. I like this.
Yeah, it's a good group
and of course,
too.
whatever your wine of choice is, right? You have to have some wine, vino. So yeah, and in fact, I wouldn't mind even cooking the meal myself. So I love it. It's a great way to express myself in my creativity. So
we have Rick Eckloff chiming in. This is a pretty fun one. He says, Lyle Lovett, the great country and western singer, says, never trust Mexican food north of the Red River.
So basically Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, Southern Cal, maybe.
Yeah, maybe Southern Cal.
Yeah.
But and I have to agree with Lyle Lovett and your listener that it just. God bless them. It's just not the same.
I mean, it's really the same as when New Yorkers say you can't trust pizza west of the Delaware River,
right.
Or maybe some of them would say Hudson River.
Right. Or the Adirondacks or something, right?
Something,
right there.
But it's true. I mean, you really can't get good pizza. I mean, if you're a deep dish guy, Chicago, that's fine, but I'm in New York. pizza.
Yeah.
I love that New York thick pizza. There's that doughy pizza.
And not,
kind of like your
not,
croissants.
not crazy thick like Chicago. Like she should be able to
Are you
fold
talking about
it.
the Detroit pizza? That's that square pizza, but it's real buttery, kind of light crust. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. No, I like
You're
the
talking,
New York. I like New York. The thick,
normal
the thick,
New York.
doughy kind of pizza.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. When you said New York pizza, I go, yeah. Now I've been to New York twice, and I really like their pizza. That New York style pizza. I don't like that thin, crispy nonsense.
Oh, I like the thin. What about you, AJ?
Yeah,
Are you like the thin?
I feel like New York pizza isn't crazy thin, but I would call it thin compared to
the deep
Chicago.
Yeah.
And even President Obama, he's very much from Chicago. Even I fully agree with what he said. Even he says, New York.
New York?
Because it's an actual pizza.
Really? Okay.
And you pick it up and you walk with it and you fold it.
Right.
And that's the pizza. You shouldn't need a knife and fork.
Right.
To eat a pizza pie.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I agree with that.
All right, big question right now. East Coast, West Coast. Now that you're on the East Coast and you've got West Coast leanings also too. East Coast, West Coast, are you going to be the Swiss and go neutral on us?
Gosh, it's hard to beat the Pacific Northwest on a summer day. It is. I mean, the beautiful mountains and the zero humidity, unlike the East Coast. I love the East Coast, the history, the architecture. One of my favorite places I mentioned is Newport, Rhode Island, and so can I pick three?
Yes, yes.
You can pick up, and you can say Kansas also too if you wanted to.
And yeah. So Kansas City's kind of a cool town.
Yeah.
So I like the Canadian Rockies. I like Vancouver, BC. We were like 2-3 hours away, so we go over there. So it's beautiful up there. So
I bet you took the Victoria Clipper from Seattle up to the bottom, or did you go to the big city, Vancouver itself?
The big city of Vancouver. Moved up, packed up the cars, and went to the big city. So yeah, it's just so beautiful there, and I love Victoria, and it's the British influence, and So
it's always confusing to me because there's Vancouver, BC, and there's Vancouver, Washington. I guess
Vancouver, Washington is basically Portland.
Is it? Okay.
It's like a suburb.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, and it also it's confusing for me. Vancouver is on the mainland.
Right.
Victoria is on Vancouver Island.
Oh.
So you got to keep these people straight up there.
I know.
Right. Yeah.
I think they just got tired of renaming things and they just kept duplicating
They gave
things.
up.
I don't know.
They just gave up and said, okay, we're going to name everything Vancouver. Right.
We're guilty of that here, too. George Vancouver has a lot of stuff named after him.
Yes.
George Washington has a lot of stuff named after him because you're in Virginia. You've got this Washington, and you're from that Washington. So we're guilty, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mountains or beach? Mountains or beach?
This is tough because she's going to say both, I think, because she's from both.
No,
Let's
I'm
see.
going to say I like the mountains, but I need to be able to see a body of water.
I see.
That's a nice thing about marrying into a Navy lifestyle is that water's always around us, right? So I like being near the water. I'm not necessarily a tropical beach lady. I like it for vacations, but I like the four seasons. I like very little humidity in the summer, which I'm not getting in Virginia. I love it here. There's really wonderful people here, but I like four seasons. I really do. Ooh. And people are like, oh my God, how could you live in Seattle? It rains so much. Okay, well then, we could say that about California and their earthquakes. Then we could say that about the East Coast humidity, but then we could say, there's something every part of the country that you've got to deal with. Or the tornadoes, I'm sure you remember that.
Never seen them.
We still have some of that in Dallas.
Are they have tornadoes here?
You grew up right in that alley, pal.
Right down there, Tornado Alley, right around there, right?
Oh, yeah.
Do you guys occasionally have those down there in Dallas?
We've had a few. We had one about 5 miles from here a couple of years ago. But, they are scary, and that's like an earthquake. And people assume we have more tornadoes, but they're not really hitting the metropolitan areas. They're usually out on the outskirts. So
I've lived here 23 years, and we've had one in Dallas. In my 23 years here, we've had a couple in Fort Worth, and outside for sure.
Yep.
I think I remember you talking about how you lived in the Bay Area.
Yeah, that's right.
Were you there during the '89 World Series earthquake?
I was there right after that. I was there for I think the Southern Cal Northridge one was 91 or 92. That's when I moved there. And I lived briefly in SoCal and then up in San Francisco and Berkeley also.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so well, Treasure Island used to be a naval station.
That's right.
So we lived in the Bay Area, and we had the lovely time of experiencing that earthquake.
Yeah.
And then even, believe it or not, when we were living in Hawaii, there was tsunamis, like little baby tsunamis, but they're like, oh my God, everybody, run for the hills. But I mean, and I used to joke afterwards, I'm like, we should do one of those concert tees, in the back where they're like, Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Chicago, and be like, okay, tsunami, Hawaii, earthquake, Northern California, right? Mount St. Helen blowing,
right.
Washington State, and I'm like, there's pretty much Kansas. We did some time with the Army when they're doing a lot of putting the Army people with Navy and Navy people, so there were tornadoes and all that. So there's not a lot I haven't seen from Mother Nature.
You've seen it.
Yeah, everybody has something. Wherever you live, can't get away from Mother Nature. Yeah. So all right, you were talking about seasons. I'm interested to favorite seasons: summer, fall, winter, spring. Fall. Yeah, would that be back east fall, like when the leaves are changing and all that kind of stuff?
I love fall here, but I love fall on the West Coast. It's that year that you start school, it's a new beginning. It's football season.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's kind of one of my favorites. And you get to maybe put a coat on, right? Start to put a coat on. So depending on what part of the country you're in.
Yeah.
So
that's it's not football season until you can put a jacket on, and that's usually like October for us.
November.
It does get a little warm. Friday night football, it's fun to go out, but when you're sweating and it's 110 in the shade, that's not a lot of fun. But when you put on a nice little jacket and you can go out and sit and it's 50, 55 degrees at night, that's some pretty good football.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
You get that fall crisp in the air.
Yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Sunrise, sunset. Are you a night owl?
I am an early bird. I'm a sunrise.
Yes, I figured you.
Sorry, what about you? Who's the?
He's a night owl. I'm more of a morning guy.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I
we could do morning yoga and we could do nighttime yoga.
Evening.
Well, you could just.
He actually goes and works out with weights after the show sometimes.
Sometimes. Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
So 10, 11 p.m. he goes. Yeah.
So you do your cardio too at that time?
Sure. And I can go to sleep. I can go home and go to sleep, and I'll be knocked out. So it won't wait. It doesn't get me hyped up. It actually acts the opposite, and I get tired.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm not.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Well, and I've done that forever since I was in high school, actually too. So I've worked out late and done some stuff like that. Close the club down and go exercise, play tennis, and get home at 1 o'clock in the morning, and that kind of thing. So just.
Do you have any blood left in your body after that?
No, not at all.
It seems like you're just on full force. So
that is. I mean, just it's interesting how some people, their biological clock just goes at different times, and so my wife and I are both night owls. So it's.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Yeah, so I made sure that she was a night owl because I didn't want to be getting up at 6 in the morning, 5 in the morning. That's not fun. But what's your favorite holiday? What do you like out there?
Okay, well, I'd have to say Halloween, only because it was my dad's birthday. And so my dad, 6 kids. My mom would stay home and hand out the candy, and he'd take all of us trick-or-treating, but he knew everybody in the neighborhood, right? And then we go over to another neighborhood, another hood. And they're like, hey, Tim, it's your birthday. Come on in for a drink, right? So we're like, come on, man. We got houses to get to, right?
We got houses. We got candy to get.
Right.
Yeah. So as much as we got candy, he kept getting a little bit more inebriated. So he used to call it trick or drinking. So that I got fun memories of sitting there in my little homemade mouse costume with my little whiskers and going, come on, we got to go. Right. So I still like Halloween. It's just a fun, I mean, come on, there's candy.
Yeah.
So.
Right. Candy's good. Candy's fun. In moderation, right? In moderation.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So, all right, we've got just a couple more questions, then we'll call it a day here. All right, do you like indoor tennis or outdoor tennis? What's your favorite?
Indoor.
Indoor, really?
I mean, don't get me wrong. I like a nice, beautiful day, low humidity, Seattle Tennis Club.
Right.
But, then you're combating the sun sometimes and the wind and then the extreme heat. So I'm an indoor all day.
Yeah. Favorite tournament? What's your favorite tennis tournament?
BNP Indian Wells.
Oh, yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Have you guys been? Yes.
Yeah. We've been, and I know half of Seattle goes down for that because
pretty much three-quarters of Seattle.
Three-quarters.
Pretty much when I'm walking around, they're like, Marcia! I'm like, oh my God!
All the tennis people from Washington go down.
You see them in the airport, and you go, hey,
you know everybody.
You know everybody.
They got husky hats on, right?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, you can tell them a mile away. Have you guys both been there together?
Not together.
Not together.
Yeah.
Been there. Nice place. I mean, Palm Springs. Anytime you're in Indian Wells, Palm
place,
Springs, that's not a.
It really is. I mean, it just, even during the day, it might get a little hot, but the nighttime matches are the best, right? It gets cold at night, too, in March.
Oh, yeah. I've done the gondola up there, and you got to have 2 sweaters on for there.
Two
and
cardigans?
then you come down, 2 cardigans, 2 leather sweaters up there. But then you come and pants or something. Then you come back down, and it's 102 degrees, but there's snow right there, and you feel like you can touch it.
Right.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Love that place.
Yeah,
I
that's
love
an awesome
it.
place.
Yeah.
Do you like to watch?
I've been there several times. So.
Do you like to watch tennis on TV? Sorry, I lost.
I do.
TV.
I do like to watch. It's more of a, unless it's a match that I'm like, I can't wait to see what they're doing. It's one of those, have it on and just keep checking it. But I do.
Who's your favorite
I love
player?
to see the different styles.
Yeah, contrasting back and forth. Who's your favorite player then? Of maybe.
Yeah, women or men.
Women or men. Yeah.
Who's your favorite of all time?
Pete Sampras was pretty badass, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was pretty
good.
Steffi Graf.
Oh, yeah.
Martina, Billie Jean Christie. God, here I am going along the line. Pick one, Marcia. But I'm a big fan of Venus Williams. She's a taller woman.
Yeah, like you.
Right. So she also is older. I'm a little, maybe 6 months older. I'm just kidding. But she's older. She fights massive amount of and combats a bunch of fatigue because she has an autoimmune disease, which I do. Oh. So when I'm out there, I'm trying to get a quick point in too, so that I'm not sitting there going, okay, there goes my energy stores. So, and I just like how she carries herself. And, she just seems very thoughtful and meaningful in what she's doing. Plus, she kind of has also taken the torch with Billie Jean and helping advance women's tennis. So
I thought
here's your late 85 answers.
Well, I thought you might say John Michael Gamble, because he's from Washington.
He's from Eastern Washington somewhere.
Right, yeah. He's a fellow Washington.
I think Spokane.
Yes, that's right.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so there was a Davis Cup at Tom Gorman, who was from the Seattle area. Do you remember him?
Yeah,
we love him. Yeah,
Davis Cup captain, sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm in awe of these players. They make it look so easy, of course. And, it's interesting to see who works on their fitness, who doesn't. It's pretty obvious, at least to me. You can tell maybe some of the ladies I've seen in past years that maybe don't have really great eating habits, and then they'll come back a year or two later. You're like, wow, you really changed your body and you increased your mile per hour on the court. And then there's people that you can tell that maybe are a little bit restricted in their range of motion, and others that you can tell do yoga. So the whole tennis player's fitness paradigm is just fascinating to me. So
do you think Serena wins the 24th? Since we're talking about women's tennis a little bit, do you think
one more major for Serena or not really?
I think I hope she does, but I think it's this thing that it just everybody keeps asking, and as you get older and you've got other commitments and maybe distractions, I'm going to say maybe I hope she does, but I maybe not.
Do you think she could use some better yoga, better nutrition, that kind of thing?
I did a lot of research on her when I was doing the book, and she claims that she does yoga. I don't know how frequently she does, and Andy Murray does it. Obviously, Djokovic, she's pretty obvious. Maria Sharapova. I'm sure there's a lot of players that now have incorporated. But, back in the day when I was growing up, yoga was kind of crunchy granola, fringy, hippy dippy. And you're like, anytime you would know anybody that did yoga, it was like long hair, incense, right? And you're kind of looked at them as like kind of new age weirdos, right? Obviously, that dial's been moved to nowadays where professional athletes across the board, football and basketball, all of those, tennis, Major League Baseball, they're all using this discipline of yoga in their fitness paradigm to treat the body from top to bottom and bottom to top. So building the stability and look at Tom Brady. Was he 43? He's out there still. I mean, that's unheard of. Look at Roger, right? Mm-hmm. These guys are getting up there. And back when I was a kid, nobody was playing any sort of professional sport at 40 or even late 30s. So, I mean, obviously better fitness, better science, athletic abilities are moving people into a longer term career. But with that, you've got to take care of your body, right? So you can go, I'm going to play until I'm 45. I'm going to be a quarterback, right? Well, you won't be, because you'll be injured, you'll be on the sidelines and stuff. So I love the fact about yoga is now it's mainstream. It's a physical practice, right? As much as a mental practice. So what is tennis? It's a physical sport right along with the mental sport, right? So it's right there. Yep. It's a twin thing. So you're going to, and you start understanding, why is this going to help me? Well, you're going to be able to run and keep your range of motion and your gait and your explosive split step. You are going to find people out there over the years, but now that yoga is becoming more popular, maybe in tennis, let's say, for example, you're going to see people out there that are like 65 that are running around like they're 25, where if you think about 30, 40 years ago, those people were like, right, Tin Man, right? And they had braces and stuff. And, people have to have surgery at time, and I understand that. But I had a catastrophic freak accident 5 years ago where I broke my hip, okay? And who breaks a hip, right? I'm like, oh my God, it's like I feel like I'm this 85-year-old woman. But that took me out of tennis for a while, but physical therapy, dry needling, all that. And then I ended up having to have a vasectomy at the end, but because it was so inflamed. However, my point is, I had a catastrophic injury where it was incredibly painful, and I can see how catastrophic it is to elderly. The reason why I'm back doing and running and teaching and jumping rope and doing my burpees, yoga, 100% yoga, 100%. So even if you have a surgery, even if you have an injury, go ahead and stay with it. Get your doctor's medical clearance, but know that you can come back, and sometimes even more so, come back even stronger. So I don't think I would have ever gotten to the point where it's no big deal anymore. I don't even know I even broke it, right? So I cannot stress, especially for tennis players too, because I like to play that, how important it is to keep your body stable. You want to have balance. You want to have symmetry. And you're going to get immediate feedback with yoga, like, oh my God, I'm tipping over. Okay, well, that means that you're really right side dominant if you're tipping over on the left side. What is that telling you? Let's work a little bit more when we're in the weight room on our left side, right? Or we can go ahead and you're going to elongate the muscle bellies of the spine and the legs and the hamstrings. And you're going to go ahead and keep that range of motion, keep running, maybe keep your speed. Talking about your spine, your thoracic spine, that mid spine, that is an area where if you don't use it, I don't know if you've ever traveled for many, 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 many hours on a plane, and you get out, and you're like, right? Right?
Yep.
That is what people can do over time to go ahead and keep that open, healthy blood flow, keep between the vertebrae, keep it nice and mobile and agile, and continue that serve. I mean, if you've got a 100+ mile an hour, Craig, serve, why not go for 150? Right? So,
he does.
Possible. Because, our everyday lifestyle is less than optimal posture, and we're doing damage because of our everyday lifestyle that we don't even know we're doing. So then it starts showing up on the tennis court, right? So even if it's just something that you do and you turn on your YouTube for a minute or two, or 10, 15, 30 minutes on the weekend, you're still doing giving your body the gift, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's
great gift. Great gift.
Makes great sense. We've got 2 more questions for you. We're rounding the corner. We're going down. We're going down. Coming.
We're going like the Sooner Schooner.
That's right. We're not falling over. Right? We have stability. We have stability. All right. If you wouldn't have been involved in sports, what would you be doing now?
I'm one of those artsy chicks, right? I used to be a big art go to drawing classes and all that. I would be an interior designer.
Really? I thought you might go
creativity. Yeah.
I thought you might say Bob Ross. Might be one of those Bob Ross guys on PBS with the frizzy hair.
He's a great person to put on if you need to take a nap. He's got that kind of like, hey guys.
My son loves it. My son, Chris,
happy little tree there, Chris.
CB2.
It's so easy, right? You're like, you're making it look easy. It's probably got a little code on there, you know what to do. So. No, but
Interior
designer.
Really? Because you had a sociology degree, I think,
I do have a sociology degree, right? I got to talk to people, right? So, but no, it just, color, design, all of that. I'm really interested in. It's something that I really would, if I wasn't doing this, I would be doing.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, we found a little hidden gem right there.
That was cool.
Yeah. All right, last question. This is it. The creme de la creme, the big one right here, the drum roll. If you could wave the magic wand in the great game of tennis, all right, what would you make a change? Any changes? Like it the way it is? Is there something that Marcia Gray might be able to impart wisdom before we leave this podcast tonight?
Women have fought so long to be equal pay, even in the workforce. And thankfully, the dial's been moved. I'd like to really see, I'm sure there'd be a lot of people that'd be against this, but to be the top pinnacle athlete in tennis, you have got to have that cardiovascular endurance. You've got to have that muscle endurance. You've got to be ready to go. I'd love to see ladies go five sets.
Interesting.
Right? Let's tax their cardiovascular system. Let's tax their muscle endurance. See who's the last lady standing. I've always kind of wished it was like that. I'm sure there's a lot. That's probably not the most popular answer, but why don't we just all do the same thing, right? The guys can do the same thing. We can do it too, right?
Yeah.
So I also think that maybe should be a little bit more decorum sometimes on the court, on the professional level. That sometimes it seems like it gets a little out of hand, but what I've always loved about tennis, even when I was helping my friend back in high school, the gentlemanly part of it, it's a gentle, it's just a shake hands and, great game. I always really like that. It's almost like you're sort of like yoga, nodding your namaste to each other at the end. Thank you. That was a great time, right? Win or lose. So there's my answer. I'd like them to go 5 sets. I want to see the last lady standing. Because you know what? I bet it would be somebody you might not think. You know what I mean?
No, that's a great answer. We've never had that from a lady standpoint. 'Cause that I think it really would, because I just started thinking about this. Women play the same length of basketball. I believe they play an hour also too, like in the WNBA. And most women's sports, golf, they play 18 holes just like the guys do. Now they hit from a little different tee, but they still play 18 holes. Tennis doesn't do that. And it reminds me of Oklahoma basketball. When I was in high school, I kid you not, girls basketball in high school, they played 6-on-6, and they could only run to the half court. The offense could.
Are you serious?
No, I'm absolutely.
Wow.
And here's the reason. Here's where I'm going with this, because they felt like that women couldn't play the full court because they would hurt their lungs. I kid you not, that was the exact reason. We were sitting there.
It wasn't like 1939, was it?
It was 1940.
We're talking about
1940.
late 60s, right? Or early 70s.
1976. No, I'm
funny.
This is 1976, and it changed at about 77 or 78. But Iowa and Oklahoma, I kid you not, played 6-on-6. Girls were playing college basketball down at OU. They were playing 5-on-5 up and down the floor. But high school girls basketball, there was an offensive team and a defensive team. And so when you push the ball over to the offensive side, the defense, they'd stand there just kind of waiting until the ball would come back up the court, and then they would play. It was 6-on-6, 3-3. That's
what a ripoff.
Yeah,
I would be like, this is I
know you're a basketball player, right?
Yeah, so, I'm for not underestimating people like that,
because we might hurt their lungs. That was the biggest bunch of nonsense.
I've been around the Navy bases when women couldn't be serve on ships and serve in combat. And that has changed, right? Why not? Why can't they be in fighter pilots, and why can't they be in helicopters, and why can't they be doing it? If we are trying to bang the drum for equality, then let's all be equal, right?
Right. In our own ways. And obviously, you can do things that we can't do. We can do maybe some things that you can't do, but as men and women. But I like your answer. I'm
going to say, let's have a childbirth game.
No,
you win. The ladies on that.
You win. You win hands down on that. We got you. If childbirth were left up to men, there wouldn't be any. We wouldn't.
We would be all extinct.
We'd all be all extinct. This population would be somewhere else. We'd be at a different galaxy or someplace like that. But that's a really interesting point that I kind of thought about, and I think there's been broached around the couple times on the TV, but they've really I like that thought. If you want equal pay, you got to do equal time for the most part.
Well, not only that, but then their training's going to have to change too, because we're like, whoa, that's like another half of a match, right?
Yes.
So over half of a match. So now you got to train. Now you got to take your training up even higher, right?
Yes.
I'd love to see how the ladies on the tour adapt to that. And maybe it's just because of my fitness trainer background, right?
Yep.
That I want to, why not? Why can't you? Why can't we all do the same? It might look different on the way there, but you could easily end up at the fifth set holding that trophy, right? It's that belief in yourself, right? So
no, I like that. I think that's a great answer.
Here I am getting all Rudy on you guys.
Well, we've seen people come back, 2 sets down, and then they cruise back by the fifth set. You see people 2 sets, lose 2 sets, and then play the fifth set. I mean, it's a mental game.
It's very common.
I like
it makes it a little more exciting because it's like, boom, boom, the ladies are done. Boom, boom, the ladies are done. I'm like, geez, oh my God, that wasn't very fun it's fun to watch, but if somebody gets a beat down, it's, wait until the third set and the fourth set. Maybe somebody will be coming roaring back.
Yeah.
So.
No, that's a very good point. 'Cause, and I know I sent an article to AJ, and I think we were talking about this the other day. The alphabet soup organizations are trying to maybe unify in the next few years. The ATP, the ITF, the WTAs, they're all they understand even getting the big tournaments together might be in the best interest of one voice as opposed to a bunch of 5 or 6 scattered voices out there in the world of tennis. And this could be a really good time to make that point.
That has been a common thread in a lot of our guests. Yeah, it's been great. But, well, this was fantastic. Marcia, you're a delight, and I learned a lot. And huge thanks tonight. That was really fun.
Oh, man.
What a treat to be a guest on your podcast. You guys are highly amusing and very entertaining. So
He is.
I had a lot of fun. With you guys.
Yeah,
So
thank you.
I'm hoping that in some way, shape, or form that this can, strike a nerve with people in the future. In the next month or so, PK is going to be doing the audio version available on his lovesetmatch.net. I will be shooting some videos that are specific poses from the book, and then he'll upload those with the cues, so that people can actually hear me say what I'm going to say and what is she doing, and I'll show the different modifications. We've had really fabulous feedback and interest. PK works on a Love for Love Foundation with Rosie Casals, and she gave a resounding endorsement for our book, which was kind of a thrill. And then I in the future, my goal is to work with some NCAA tennis teams, women's or men's or both. Mm-hmm. I've worked a little bit with some high school kids, and I also am going to consult with the LA Tennis Club tennis director about starting their yoga for tennis.
Yeah, that's our friend Carrie Buck.
Yeah, well, I think they have a brand new one that just got hired.
I see. I didn't know about the change.
Yeah. So that's in the works to talk about that this week. So, really exciting to be, just anything that I could do to help move that discipline with tennis and how beneficial it's going to be for everybody. It's like having your own personal fitness trainer / yogi / tennis player in your pocket that can give you, look, if you got it, oh my God, what is she doing? Go ahead and do a different version of it. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Still did yoga that day. So.
Well done. You're at the forefront of this, so well done doing it on that format, e-book, e-reading, and now it's going to be audio, which so many people love. We are so proud to have had you on the show tonight. Thank you. We'll keep in touch on this. And
I think we're going to get in the station wagon with the wood paneling and drive up to Virginia.
Like it. Jimmy Jay's vacation.
That's it. We're going to drive up and see AJ and I.
The family truckster.
Yeah, and then we're going to go on up to
Newport,
Rhode Island. So you can.
I love it. And then I'll go to the B&P and we'll do a yoga session right there outside the stadium on the grass.
We'll get Sir Richard to join us, right?
Branson.
Yes, Mr. Bronson.
Love it.
Yeah,
Mr. Bronson, yes.
We'll get him to go. Or Ellison. That's Larry Ellison. Sorry.
Larry Ellison.
Got my billionaires.
Larry Ellis from Oracle.
I got my billionaires mixed up.
They probably do too.
A big, huge thank you. Very grateful that you guys had me. I really appreciate helping me spread the word. And as I close my yoga class, I'll do it with you guys. Tonight, as you go forward, find peace in your thoughts, peace in your words, and peace in your heart.
Beautiful.
Very, very, very well said. We're going to leave on that note. Thank you, Marcia.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Have a great night. Take care. Thank you, Marcia.
Thank you, Marcia.
Thank you. All right. Bye-bye.
Good night.
That was an awesome show. She's a blast. Yeah,
wow,
it was really
kidding.
cool. Yeah.
Wasn't that fun?
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, she was only going to stay about an hour, and then she ended up staying 2 hours with us. I was like,
solid 2 hours. Well done, CB.
Yeah,
well done, Marcia. That was really nice.
Yep. So, once again, her website was it Lovesetmatch?
Lovesetmatch.net and Seattle M. Gray, Gray. Seattle M. Gray is her Instagram handle, and go visit her. I hope you'll.
I'm gonna look her up on YouTube and maybe do some. I'm interested. I mean, I stretch 10 minutes a day, usually before I come to work. And it's not
mornings.
It's just more stretchy, not yoga. But it's just got me thinking again. Okay, I'm 61, and I'd like to play a little bit longer. Maybe start doing some yoga. There's a yoga place actually right across the street from me. So I was thinking about. I'm going to look that up. I'm just going to drive.
That's awesome.
Drive by and go. I'm going to stop in and do something, because I think that's got me. My
you'll love it. Yeah. And what I enjoy is her book, which is almost like an app. And she mentioned it's on your phone. I just do it outdoors, whether it's cold or hot. iPad on the tripod, and I'm able to just kind of enjoy those, and I do those in the morning myself.
Probably go over to Glencoe Park.
I can do it at the park if I want. I go backyard,
Take a little penny over to Glencoe.
I warm up by mowing the lawn and then do my 20, 30 minutes of this.
And then put your cardigan on.
That's it.
I was sitting there. I was
Great
laughing.
image.
Oh, my goodness. Well, all right, gang. Let's talk exit right now with the great James Scott Campbell, because it's been a lot of fun. We've had 2 hours of nothing but greatness. Wouldn't you say?
Greatness. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for listening to Season 1, Episode 80 of At the Net Podcast. Join us next week as we'll be talking with Coach Philly Farmer.
Philip Farmer is a remarkable coach. Great player, played at Oklahoma University.
Another Sooner Boomer.
Has coached too. Sam Query, Bryan Brothers, all these remarkable names.
Right, so we got him next week. So also join us on Wednesday night. We like to do tennis shorts. I've heard of tennis shorts. Have you heard of it?
What's in Craig Bell's tennis shorts?
Absolutely zero.
You find out Wednesday night, 8 Central, 9 Eastern. That's on Instagram, at the Net Podcast.
And maybe, hey, if you see us around town, let us know, because we have these nice new At the Net Podcast hats.
Cool hats.
We would love to give one to our Nethead Nation, right?
Happy to.
All right. Also, and lastly, be sure to tell friends. Hopefully your friends like us, because we like everybody's friends, don't we?
We do, so share it, like it, subscribe, hit the notifications, promo code, whatever you want to do.
Right.
You know what to do, and share the love. Thanks, everybody.
Yep, and that's the tennis news as it
seems to us.
Good night, everybody.